All right, so I'm gonna be starting this project with a couple of things. I have a cylinder vase from the Dollar Tree, and then this is actually a substitute for an item that I was trying to also find at Dollar Tree, but I could not find. The bolster for pool noodles is what I was looking for, but I couldn't find it. I was able to find this epoxy pen holder on Amazon, so I'll make sure to link it so you can get it yourself if you really like the look of this, but I really felt like it was a decent substitute for the project that I'm going to be doing. Okay, so I'm going to take my paint marker and I'm going to basically just trace, so I have a little bit of a guide. It doesn't need to be a really bold guide, it just needs to be around basically the circumference of the vase. And I'm going to be taking an X-Acto blade, and just be careful, don't try and put your fingers in front of your line of cutting. We don't want to have to slice any fingers. And I'm going to keep following this, and I'm going to try and go a little deeper every time. And essentially we're just going to be going as far down to the bottom of this as possible so that our vase can fit inside of it. All right, so now that I have hollowed out the center of my foam circle, I'm gonna be using Mod Podge to cover the foam because I'm gonna be painting this, but I wanna make sure that the paint doesn't necessarily sink in to the foam. So to create a barrier and something that'll dry relatively quickly, Mod Podge or like Elmer's glue or just craft glue, whatever you have access to in your craft supply would work. Just something that will dry quickly, but also will create that barrier, so it just makes the painting step a lot easier. Okay, so now this is all dry. This is all like Mod Podge. I added a little bit of a tacky glue as well. So it's all dry, and we are going to use a Dixie Belle paint in the color Savannah Mist. It's kind of a light bluish color, so we are going to shake it up, and we are going to use a sponge brush. We are going to paint. I'm going to paint this whole thing this color. And why I think using a glue is a good way to start is because it really does kind of create a surface that will make painting a little bit easier. Also, it won't like suck up all the paint. All right, now that this has been completely painted, I'm going to be putting my vase into it. I'm gonna make sure it is all the way on. All right, so let's go see it staged in my home with a candle in it. And here is the finished product. These two foam boosters really have transformed into chic and modern decor. I'm really happy with the end result. I hope you feel inspired to try this project at home.
You don't have to look any further than your kitchen cupboard for this project. To start, I want to cut the pointed tips off the skewers. I want to make sure they're all the same length as well. With my skewers cut, I want to put a row of double-sided tape around the jar at the spot that sticks out the furthest. Once I start adding a few of the skewers, I also find it helpful to put a rubber band around as an extra way to hold them tight in place. To make the pattern I'm looking for, I want to remove now every other skewer. With all the skewers around the jar, I want to put a small bead of hot glue around just to hold them in place. Now I'm going to add another bead of the hot glue near the base of the skewers and add 2 rows of thick jute twine. This will cover the bottom of the skewers nicely. Next, I want to add a piece of twine around the middle, right about the level of the rim of the jar that's inside the skewers. To give this vase a little shape, I want to bring the top of the skewers closer together. I can use a rubber band to hold them in place while I'm putting some hot glue and twine around the top. This will not only hide the tops of the skewers, but the twine and glue will hold them all in place as well. For my second design, I want to make something quick and easy to hold some pretty dried herbs that I have. This time I'm using a small straight jar. I want to cut the tips of the skewers off first, and then I want to cut them in each in half. To shape the skewers, I want to put the palm of my hand on the top of them and turn my hand. To hold the skewers in place, I'm going to put some hot glue around the middle of the jar and then put 2 rows of the same thick jute twine I used in the first design. I love having dried herbs and flowers around my home, and these skewer vases are perfect to pair with them. I hope this has inspired you to grab some skewers and make your own vases as well.
Pick up these glass gems at Dollar Tree to make this craft. Grab a vase. I'm using just a clear, straight-sided vase that I had, but you could use any vase you already have. Now I'm going to use some hot glue and start gluing the gems around the vase. I'm spacing them evenly apart along the bottom, and now I'm just going to work my way up until the entire vase is covered with glass gems. The color of the gems does not matter because we're going to cover this with paint. I'm going to take this vase outside and spray it down with a black spray paint. I'm going to use a couple of coats to make sure the sides of all of the gems are covered. Now I have a really elegant looking vase that I can use for every season. I hope this inspired you to pick up some glass gems from Dollar Tree and make your own.
For today's project, we are going to only need a few items. First, I grabbed my Amazon package, and this has my caning in here, which is going to be for the main part of the project. Then I had to run over and grab a couple vases in different shapes, and then I ran to Trader's and then got some peonies flowers. And I think we're ready to get started. We're going to start with one of our glass vessels and our caning. And we're going to put that right at the edge of the caning. And we're going to wrap that around and kind of measure it that way. Just eyeball it. And then we're going to cut that. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut that so it overlaps about a 1/2 inch over the caning on the other side. Just see how it kind of overlaps right there. And then we're going to cut at the top edge of the vase opening, about a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch taller, so you don't see the top of the glass. You could go further, it's really whatever you want to do. Then we're going to grab some hot glue, and we're going to start by putting just a tiny little dab at the bottom, and it's just kind of securing it to the bottom. And I just did this in a few little areas around it. You could do the entire bottom if you want, but I kind of did it like in different areas, just a tiny bit. So that I can maybe take this off when I decide I don't want the webbing on there. And then we're going to put a bead of glue on one side of the caning and then overlap it. And that's it. Look how cute that is. So here's our first one. That's a small one. Then we're going to do the same thing on a large one. Same process. We're going to cut it to size from top and bottom. Then we're going to add the hot glue, overlap the 2 pieces, add a couple little strategic little spots at the bottom to kind of hold it so it doesn't slide, and that's it. And now you have a larger vase. And we're going to do one more, which is that odd shape one. And what we did was I pre-measured right to where it starts to angle, and I put that around there. And you guys got the picture. I don't think you need me to show you how to do the rest of it, but look how cute that one is. Then I just took some peonies flowers and put them in the vases. You could use these for candle votives also, because remember it's glass inside, so it's safe. And I just love the way these turn out. These are perfect for dining room or your bedside table. They'd be really cute for a wedding. I just love the way they turned out, and I hope you guys love it too. And I hope this DIY inspired you to make your own vase for your home.